Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the social science class. So students, as you all know, we are currently on the chapter agriculture. This is our third class on the chapter agriculture. So students, in the first two classes, we have discussed about the economic activities and its types, then agriculture as a primary sector activity. After that, we went on to discuss about the concept of farming system, that is the link between input, processes and output. And not only that, students, we also discussed about the types of farming. So the farming system is broadly classified into subsistence farming and commercial farming. In our last class, we discussed about subsistence farming and its various types and subtypes. So subsistence farming is farming which is basically undertaken for self-consumption, right? And subsistence farming is of two types. One is your intensive subsistence farming, which is mostly concentrated on a single plot of land where more labors are used and less machines and simple tools are used. And the next one is primitive subsistence farming. Primitive subsistence farming in turn is subdivided into shifting cultivation and nomadic herding. So shifting cultivation means the farmers, they undertake the farming process in one particular plot of land. The trees are being cut and then they are being burnt. So the ashes are mixed with the soil to increase the fertility. So after the first round of cultivation, the farmers then shift on to a new plot of land and the same process is repeated. And when it comes to nomadic herding, it means the herdmen who move with their kettles from one place to another, depending on the geographical conditions of a place. Alright. So students, this is all about subsistence farming. Today we are going to discuss about commercial farming. Alright. So students, your learning outcomes. That means after the end of today's class, you all will be able to define what is commercial farming. Not only that, students, you all will also be able to point out, okay, you all will be able to point out or identify the differences between the types of commercial farming. So these are your learning outcomes. So students, as opposed to subsistence farming, commercial farming is not done for self-consumption. Okay, we all know that in case of subsistence farming, the farmers cultivate the various crops for meeting the family needs and not for making money or earning income. But when it comes to commercial farming, it is mostly commercialized. It is undertaken with the motive of making money. So commercial farming is that type of farming practice which is undertaken by the farmers in order to earn some money. That means after the crops are cultivated, the farmers, instead of using it for self-consumption, they sell it in the market. Okay. Now it is not that only crops are cultivated, animals are also reared for the same purpose. Maybe for selling the meat, the milk or other parts, the hides, that means the skin of the animals, so that they can be sold in the market and income can be generated. Alright. So students, the produce, that is the crops which are cultivated or the food items which are obtained from the animals, they are sometimes sold in the local bazaar or sometimes they are sold to abroad, to other countries as well. That means they are exported from one country, they are sold to another country. So it's not that all the time the produce is sold in the local bazaar or in the nearby market. Sometimes these are also sold to far off places, to different countries altogether. Okay. And since students, this kind of farming is undertaken with the motive of earning money, it is generally done with the help of complex machines, advanced machines, okay, machines with advanced technology. Okay, so commercial farming mostly involves more machines and less human labor. Okay, so in order to undertake commercial farming, since it requires a huge expenditure, it is a very costly affair. Okay, because in subsistence farming, what happens, most of the work is done by the farmers themselves, or sometimes the farmers may even involve their family members to do the work. Okay, but in commercial farming, the farmers generally use machines, and to buy these machines, the various tools, it requires a lot of money. Okay, so a huge amount of capital is required in case of commercial farming. Now coming to the types of commercial farming. So students, commercial farming is divided into three categories: commercial grain farming, mixed farming, and plantation. Commercial grain farming. So here different crops are cultivated. Alright, so students, the crops can be rice, wheat, maize, oats, barley, etc., etc. Okay, and this type of farming, that is farming of grains or crops, it is mostly practiced in such areas where the population is very less. That means such areas which are sparsely populated. Okay, so it is mostly practiced in the temperate grassland areas. Temperate means the moderate grassland areas, which are mostly found in North America, Europe, and Asia. Okay, and students, these areas are generally spread over hundreds of hectares. Okay, so commercial farming is mostly done on very huge plots of land. Okay, and what happens in such places, during the winter season, the growth of crops is restricted, because in the winter season generally is not very favorable for growing the grains, the crops. So when there is winter season, it restricts the growing season, and thus the farmers are confined to growing just one crop, a single crop. Okay, but in the other seasons, maybe in the summer season or in the monsoon season, they can grow multiple crops, more than one crop. But in the winter season, the growing season is confined to just one single crop. All right, now coming to mixed farming. So students, it is a mixed process where both crops are cultivated and at the same time animals are reared. Okay, that means crop cultivation and animal rearing go hand in hand. Okay, and it is mostly practiced in which places? In Europe, in eastern USA, then Argentina, then Southeast Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. Okay, now students, coming to the third type of commercial farming, it is plantation. So students, all the agricultural output that we get are not crops. Some of them are plantation. Some of them are the outcomes of the plants that we grow. Okay, so students, do you think cotton is a crop? No, it is a plant. It is the result of a plant. Okay, do you think rubber is a crop? No, it is the outcome of a plant. Do you think sugarcane is a crop? No, it is the outcome of a plant. So all the plantations, they are categorized as one type of commercial farming. Okay, so in plantation, the different plantation crops, not grains, the different plantation crops such as tea, coffee, sugarcane, banana, then your rubber, etc. are cultivated. Okay, so if I ask you what is the primary difference between commercial grain farming and plantation, your answer would be, in commercial grain farming, grains are cultivated. Grains like rice, wheat, maize, such kind of grains are cultivated. But in plantation, not grains, but plantation crops are cultivated. Okay, so the crops which are obtained from the various plants, tea, coffee, sugarcane, banana, etc., etc. Okay, so students, the plantation crops, it requires a huge amount of labor work as well as capital, and we all know what capital is. Capital includes both money as well as the machineries. Okay, and sometimes the plantation crops, after they are produced, okay, sometimes they are processed in the farm itself, or sometimes they are processed in the nearby factories, okay. And these are mostly found in the tropical regions of the world, okay. And few of the examples of plantation crops are rubber in Malaysia, then tea in India, that is in Assam, then coffee in Brazil, etc., etc., okay. So students, this is how we can differentiate between plantation, mixed farming and commercial grain farming. So students, let us now do an activity. I will show you pictures and you try to identify whether they are plantation crops or they are grains, okay. So students, if you all can see this picture, I hope you can identify that this is commercial grain farming or plantation. This is your commercial grains. This is wheat, okay. This is wheat cultivation, so this will come under commercial grain farming, okay. So these are very easy. These are banana trees, so this will come under plantation. These are not grains, these are plants, okay. These are sugar canes, so sugar canes will also come under plantation category. And what are these students? These are corns or maize, so maize will also come under commercial grain farming, okay. This one, what is this? This is cotton, right? So cotton will also come under your plantation category, okay. This is what? This is rice cultivation, and rice is a part of commercial grain farming. Rice is a grain, okay. And this is what? This is rubber, okay, rubber cultivation, rubber plantation. So this is a plantation crop, okay. So students, I hope if you can see pictures, you will be able to identify whether that particular type of cultivation is a plantation or a commercial grain farming, okay. So commercial grain farming involves the cultivation of grains, okay, and plantation involves the cultivation of such crops which are the outcomes of plants, okay. So students, today we have learned some new words, some important words. So the first word which we have learned is commercial farming. So farming which is undertaken for generating income or for making profit is commercial farming. Mixed farming. Mixed farming involves the cultivation of crops and the rearing of animals. Both the processes are simultaneously undertaken. Then livestock. Livestock means the animals, the domesticated animals which people keep in their houses. It can be goat, it can be cow, it can be hen, it can be buffalo also, okay. Then plantation means the different plantation crops, okay. So students, these are your homework questions. Question number 1, in commercial farming, crops are grown and animals are reared for self-consumption. Correct the above statement. So students, you need to correct the statement. It is very easy. Please try to do it, okay. Question number 2, identify the odd one out. A, commercial grain farming, B, shifting cultivation, C, mixed farming, and D, plantations. So you need to pick the one which is not a part of this particular list, the one which is odd, okay. And students, after these two questions, you need to do the exercise questions as well. Question number 1, from question number 1, you need to do 1, 2, 3 and 4, okay. And your submission day is today itself, and your time is between 8 to 9 p.m. Assignment has been created in Google Classroom. Kindly submit there, okay. And in case you have any difficulty, do let me know. So students, this brings us to the end of today's class. Thank you and have a nice day.